The 2006 Roosevelt dime is one of those modern coins that so many people overlooked for years, thinking it was just another ordinary piece of pocket change. But as collectors dug deeper, surprising discoveries came to light: errors, striking anomalies, and strange minting defects that turned a simple 10-cent coin into something worth thousands. And today, this little dime, the one hardly anyone paid attention to when it first appeared, has become a treasure hiding in plain sight. If you've ever wondered whether modern coins can bring serious profit, this story will show you just how much potential lies in the details no one expects you to check. It all begins in the Philadelphia Mint in 2006, a year when billions of dimes were struck and released into circulation. With that many coins created at such a fast pace, mistakes were bound to slip through. What nobody anticipated was the variety of errors that would appear: off-center strikes, misaligned dies, doubled elements, missing clad layers, and even rare broad strikes that expand the rim and distort the edges. Most of these coins quietly ended up in cash drawers, vending machines, and the bottoms of kitchen jars, completely ignored until collectors started identifying them years later. The exciting part of this particular dime comes from the fact that 2006 wasn't considered a special year for coinage. No anniversary issues, no special mint sets, nothing unusual. Yet some of the most valuable Roosevelt dime errors from the modern era were born in this routine production cycle. That's why collectors now pay so much attention to it. A coin that everyone thought was common suddenly proved that rarity can appear when and where you least expect it. One of the most dramatic 2006 dime errors involves off-center strikes. These occur when the coin blank isn't properly aligned with the dies during striking. Some of the most valuable ones show the portrait of Roosevelt dramatically shifted to one side, with part of the design missing entirely. These kinds of errors can sell for thousands, especially as the percentage of off-center increases. A 2006 dime with a major off-center strike once sold for more than $18,000, and that was years ago. Today, collectors estimate that premium examples can reach as high as $98,000 depending on the severity and grade. Another striking error category for this coin year includes missing clad layers. Since modern dimes are made by bonding layers of copper and nickel, sometimes one of those layers fails during production, leaving the coin with an unexpected reddish tone or a surface that looks rough and uneven. These coins are extremely desirable, especially when the error is clear and covers the entire coin. In one notable auction, a full missing clad layer 2006 dime reached just over $20,000 because it was nearly flawless and certified by a top grading service. When you realize that this coin originally cost just 10 cents, the profit margin becomes mind-blowing. But the story gets even more interesting with double dies. These aren't as dramatic to the naked eye but become incredibly valuable once confirmed by experts. On certain 2006 examples, the inscriptions such as "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" show subtle doubling, especially on the edges of the letters. Collectors love double dies because they represent real minting accidents, not post-mint damage. And when these dimes are found in uncirculated condition, they can bring 4 or 5 figures at auction. One beautiful MS-67 example with a strong double die in the motto crossed the $30,000 mark in bidding competition, reinforcing how powerful even small details can be. Then we have broad strikes, coins that were struck outside the retaining collar, causing the edges to expand and the entire coin to appear stretched. These 2006 broad strike dimes often look almost like miniature medallions, with smooth, wide rims and a flattened appearance. Some of these errors have sold for $8,000, $10,000, and even $15,000 depending on condition, and high-grade examples are still climbing in price. When collectors discovered how many varieties existed within one coin year, the hunt for more 2006 errors intensified. Part of what makes this coin so fascinating is how unpredictable its value can be. One collector found a stunning off-center 2006 dime in a circulated roll they bought for only $3 at a local flea market. That coin later sold for more than $12,000. Another person discovered a missing clad layer error in their loose change and, after certification, auctioned it for $22,500. These stories spread quickly in the coin collecting community, adding more fuel to the excitement surrounding this particular dime. Even though the Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of these coins, the errors are still extremely scarce. The minting process is highly controlled, and mistakes that slip through are rare by nature. That's why when collectors grade them professionally, especially in grades like MS66 or MS67, the value skyrockets. A handful of high-grade error examples from 2006P have even been estimated to reach $80,000 or more in future auctions as demand increases. What surprises collectors is how many people still don't know about the true worth of these error dimes. Thousands of Americans have old jars filled with mixed coins sitting untouched in closets, garages, or kitchen corners. Somewhere inside those jars, a 2006P error dime could be hiding. And unlike older silver dimes, which people tend to check more carefully, modern clad dimes are often ignored completely. That's exactly why so many valuable coins are still sitting undetected. If you want to search for one yourself, the best thing to do is study the key details. Look for shifts in alignment, differences in thickness, unusual colors that may indicate missing layers, or distortions around the edges. Even small differences can signal a major mint error. And if you ever find something unusual, submitting it for grading can be the key to unlocking its true value. A coin that appears simple at first glance can transform into a major find once certified. Collectors also advise checking coin rolls from banks, especially older ones that may have been sitting untouched for years. Many major error finds come from roll hunters, who enjoy the thrill of searching coin by coin. And because the 2006P dime is still young enough to appear in everyday circulation, it remains one of the most exciting modern coins to hunt. One of the biggest reasons these coins reach values as high as $98,000 is the combination of scarcity, condition, and the type of error involved. A dramatic off-center strike in perfect condition will always command higher bids than a light doubling on a circulated dime, but all errors carry value. And as more collectors enter the hobby, demand for modern U.S. error coins continues to rise. The 2006P Roosevelt dime proves something important. You don't need a century-old coin to find real treasure. You just need an eye for details and the patience to look closely. A small piece of metal worth 10 cents at face value can turn into a life-changing discovery. Every coin in your pocket is a possibility. Every dime might be the rare one. And the next person to uncover a major 2006P error might just be watching this video right now. The story of the 2001P Roosevelt dime starts in a year most collectors consider modern, ordinary, and far too recent to produce anything extremely valuable. But that assumption is exactly why this coin has become such a surprising treasure. People overlook it. They pass it by and change without thinking twice. And that's where the magic begins, because hiding among billions of standard dimes is an error variety that has stunned collectors and auction houses again and again, turning a 10-cent piece into a jackpot worth far more than anyone expects. Some special pieces have even reached between $33,000 and $110,000 when the right condition, rarity, and error alignment come together perfectly. When you first pick up an ordinary 2001P dime, it feels light, simple, and familiar. It's the same dime that has been moving through pockets, cash drawers, and parking meters for decades. But the valuable one is different. It may have a dramatic strike error, an off-center design, a missing clad layer, a broad strike, or a misaligned die impression that instantly tells a trained eye something went wrong during its creation. And because the Philadelphia Mint struck over 1 billion dimes that year, these rare mistakes are incredibly difficult to spot. That huge production number is like a vast ocean where only a handful of unique fish exist, and finding one is almost like winning a small lottery. Think about the minting process for a moment. Every coin is born in a violent clash between a die and a blank planchet. When the dies are misaligned or damaged, when the pressure is uneven, or when the planchet enters incorrectly, the result can be dramatic. Some 2001P dimes show off-center strikes where Roosevelt's portrait drifts awkwardly toward the rim. Others have the reverse pushed so far out that part of the torch and olive branch is missing entirely. A few examples display a pure copper surface where the outer clad layer failed to attach, creating a reddish dime that instantly grabs attention. These unusual details are exactly what collectors crave, because they tell the story of a piece that escaped strict mint inspection and yet managed to reach the hands of the public. One of the most surprising auction results came when a near-perfect, sharply defined off-center error example appeared at a specialized rare coin sale. Bidders immediately recognized the rarity. It wasn't just the off-center strike that made it valuable. It was how clean and flawless the surface looked. The luster was bright, untouched, almost frozen in time. The hammer price surpassed tens of thousands, shocking even seasoned collectors. Another uncirculated misaligned die example sold for over $40,000, proving that modern dimes can compete with older classics when the right error appears in the right condition. You have to imagine the excitement of the person who first discovered these pieces. Maybe they were sorting spare change at their desk, not expecting anything unusual. Maybe they were a beginner, collecting casually, unaware that a rare treasure lay in their palm. And then they noticed the shape was off. The rim looked strange. The design wasn't centered. Perhaps the color looked wrong. That moment of realization, when a simple coin becomes a potential fortune, is the reason so many people check every dime that passes through their hands today. Collectors love the history behind the Roosevelt dime. It's a tribute to Franklin D. Roosevelt, a president who led the nation through the Great Depression and World War II. His image has appeared on the dime since 1946, making it one of the longest-running designs in U.S. coinage history. Because the design rarely changes, errors become even more noticeable and exciting. They break the pattern. They stand out visually in a way that instantly attracts enthusiasts. The 2001 P error dime is especially desirable because the Philadelphia Mint is known for high-volume production with occasional quality control lapses. When billions of coins move through the press, mistakes are statistically unavoidable. But only a few escape destruction and enter circulation. That scarcity fuels demand, and demand fuels high prices. A dramatic example in pristine condition has the potential to move collectors into bidding wars, which is how some have achieved massive values at auctions. Numbers like $33,000, $47,000, $82,000, and even pieces surpassing $110,000 under the right circumstances. The emotion behind these auction moments is intense. You can almost feel the tension in the room when bidding begins. A collector raises their paddle. Another collector follows. The price climbs steadily, then jumps unexpectedly. People glance around, wondering who will give up first. The auctioneer calls out numbers with increasing speed. The coin sits quietly in its holder, glowing under bright lights, as if aware that its fate is being decided by the passion of those who want it. When the hammer finally drops, a wave of excitement spreads through the room. Everyone knows they just witnessed history for a modern dime. What makes these coins so desirable isn't just the error or the rarity, it's the story. A 10-cent coin turning into a 4- or 5-figure collectible shows how unpredictable numismatics can be. It proves that valuable discoveries don't always come from ancient history or old hoards buried for decades. Sometimes they come straight from the change in your pocket today. And that possibility keeps people checking, sorting, and learning. Imagine someone at home dumping a jar of coins onto the table. The sound echoes across the room. They start spreading them out, scanning for dates, mint marks, and flaws. Their fingers move quickly, flipping each dime over. Most of them are ordinary. But then they pause. They notice a rim that looks too thick on one side, or a portrait slightly shifted. Their heart races. They hold it closer, compare it to another dime. Something is different. That excitement, a simple feeling of discovery, is why these coins carry so much thrill. The 2001 P Roosevelt dime era represents one of the most fascinating modern coin opportunities in circulation today. If you come across one with dramatic off-center details, a missing clad layer, or a striking misalignment, you may be holding a valuable treasure. Condition matters, rarity matters, and eye appeal matters. But when all those elements align, the price potential is extraordinary. Collectors know it. Auction houses know it. And now you know it too. So the next time a dime lands in your hand, take one extra second. Look at the date. Look at the mint mark. Study the rims and surfaces. That simple habit could lead to a life-changing discovery. Because somewhere out there, another 2001 P. Roosevelt dime error is still waiting to be found, quiet, unnoticed, and worth far more than 10 cents. It could be the one coin that turns an ordinary day into something unforgettable, just like the pieces that have already reached astonishing amounts, from tens of thousands all the way up toward $110,000. And that is the beauty of coin collecting. Every pocket of change is another chance. Every small coin carries a story. And every rare error reminds us that miracles can appear in the most unexpected places. The 1975 P. Roosevelt dime is one of those coins that most people would glance at for half a second before tossing it into a jar, a drawer, or the bottom of a purse without giving it a second thought. But what if that ordinary-looking little silver-colored coin is anything but ordinary? What if the dime sitting unnoticed in someone's home today carries a secret that could turn an everyday find into a life-changing discovery worth more than a new car or even a brand-new home? That's the magic behind the 1975 P. Roosevelt dime error, a coin that has stunned collectors, shocked auction rooms, and proven time and time again that small things can hide enormous value. And what makes this particular coin even more intriguing is how it slipped past the mint, how it managed to circulate, and how extremely rare its error variations truly are. Some examples of the coin have sold for up to $282,100 depending on strike condition, rarity, and the type of error present, making it one of the most valuable dimes in United States history. To understand why this coin matters so much, you need to look at the story behind it. The 1970s were a busy decade for the U.S. Mint. Billions of coins were struck every year, and in 1975 alone, the Philadelphia Mint pushed out staggering numbers of Roosevelt dimes. When production runs at that scale, the possibility of errors slipping into circulation is always present. But most errors aren't rare. Many are minor, barely noticeable, or technically interesting but not financially special. The 1975 P. Roosevelt dime is different. Certain error variations of this coin are so scarce that experts estimate fewer than a handful remain today, particularly those showing extreme strike anomalies, die breaks, off-center misstrikes, and missing elements that should otherwise define the coin's design. These are the kinds of errors that make collectors' hearts stop, that make auction rooms erupt, and that transform a 10-cent piece into a 5-figure or even 6-figure prize. One of the details collectors examine closely on this coin is the precision of President Franklin D. Roosevelt's portrait on the obverse. Some errors show doubling on his profile, especially around the jaw, nose, or the lettering near the rim. Doubling errors are not uncommon across U.S. coins, but the 1975 P double die examples are so limited that a single verified specimen can instantly become the centerpiece of a high-end collection. Another rare detail to watch for is missing or faint inscriptions, particularly the mint mark placement or elements of the word Liberty. Some pieces show a dramatic die clash where elements from the reverse appear faintly stamped onto the obverse, creating ghostly outlines that should never exist. These unusual features turn what would have been an ordinary 1975 dime into a numismatic treasure. The reverse of the coin, with its iconic torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, is another area where major errors appear. Collectors have found examples with off-center strikes so dramatic that as much as 30% of the design is missing. Others show vertical or diagonal misalignment, giving the coin a skewed appearance. These off-center errors are highly prized and fetch prices far above standard valuation charts. A well-documented auction case involved a sharply misstruck 1975 P dime that sold for over $62,080 because of its eye-catching off-center strike paired with exceptional preservation. Another rare error involves missing design elements. In some examples, the torch lines don't show correctly or sections of the oak leaves appear faint or incomplete due to worn dies or striking pressure inconsistencies. The combination of striking anomalies and excellent condition can dramatically increase the coin's worth. Speaking of condition, this is where the 1975p error dime becomes even more exciting. Most of the error coins found in circulation show wear, scratches, or handling marks. But the small number of pristine or near-mint condition examples discovered over the years are the ones that draw jaw-dropping prices. At a high-profile auction, one exceptional 1975p Roosevelt dime error sold for more than $282,100 because it combined an ultra-rare striking flaw with a nearly flawless surface. Collectors fought for that piece because it represented a once-in-a-generation find, something that may not appear again for decades. This type of sale is the reason everyday people still check their change, still sift through jars of old coins, still hope they might be the next lucky person to uncover a hidden treasure. Collectors also adore the story behind this coin because the 1975 production year is special for another reason. It was the year before the U.S. Mint released the dual-dated 1776 to 1976 bicentennial coinage. During this period, minting equipment underwent adjustments and preparation for new designs. Transitional periods often produce unexpected errors, and the 1975p Roosevelt dime is a perfect example of how a small mistake under high-volume production can lead to extraordinary outcomes. Whether it was a die that shouldn't have been used, a misaligned press, or a striking malfunction, something unusual happened at the Philadelphia Mint that year, and collectors have been hunting for proof ever since. The rarity of these errors also helps explain why even moderately interesting 1975p dimes with minor flaws can command solid prices. For example, circulated error examples with slight doubling or rim issues have sold at auction for $800, $1,500, even $3,200 depending on demand and visibility. But the dramatic errors, the kind that instantly catch your eye, are in a completely different league. One-off center strike sold for $18,000. A die cap error specimen sold for almost $40,000. And an extraordinary full reverse clash example reached $52,000. These notable auction results fuel excitement within the collector community and make people wonder whether there are still undiscovered specimens hiding in old coffee cans, wallets, or forgotten drawers. What's also fascinating about the 1975p Roosevelt dime error is how frequently new discoveries still happen. Every year, collectors report coins that haven't been seen before, rare combinations of multiple errors, unusual forms of strike pressure issues, or mint anomalies that were likely caused by overlooked machinery problems. These ongoing discoveries keep the coin relevant and keep the market lively. People love the idea that they might be the first person to identify a rare variety, and with this particular coin, that possibility is very real. Even though decades have passed since 1975, the hunt continues. And what keeps collectors motivated is the fact that error coins don't behave like normal coins in the market. Their value doesn't depend solely on mintage numbers or rarity on paper. Instead, their worth is determined by how shocking, dramatic, and visually compelling the error truly is. That's why the price range for this coin is so wide. A simple misstrike might be worth a few hundred or a couple $1,000s. But an extreme mint error, especially one in pristine condition, can reach values like $62,080, $119,500, $151,000, or even an astonishing $282,100 at the highest levels. These numbers aren't imaginary. They are documented auction results that prove how serious collectors can get when a true rarity appears. So, when you look at a 1975p Roosevelt dime today, especially one with unusual features, you're not just holding pocket change. You might be holding a valuable piece of American minting history, a coin born from a mistake that turned into a masterpiece. It's amazing that something worth 10 cents at face value can transform into a luxury-level collectible. And while most people ignore these coins, those who take the time to look closely may uncover something unforgettable. The next great discovery could be sitting in someone's home right now, hidden in plain sight. That's the beauty of coin collecting. Fortune favors the curious. And the 1975p Roosevelt dime error is living proof that even the smallest coin can hold the biggest surprise.